Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are all over the world. For my beautiful guest, Doreen, it's good evening. Good morning. And for me,
Good morning. Yes.
It's good evening. So, as you might know from my previous series, we're moving on in the series and we're staying with the theme, take charge of your health naturally. So, I feel it's so important to give people options so that they don't resort to drug medication, because we know the long-term effects of that is not serving us in the long term. We want to age with health and wellness. So my beautiful guest today is Doreen Ritchie. We've had the privilege of being connected on LinkedIn for quite some time now. We always share stories and we have lots of laughs. So Doreen, she is a life coach, but she's an executive coach as well. She's not only an author, but also she is a public speaker of note, but also she tutors at the university. But what I really love is that she does workshops and talks for corporate companies on health and well-being of their staff. Now, I think that's a very huge area that's totally underutilized. So Doreen, welcome and thank you for accepting my invitation today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Margie. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Yes, we always have a laugh.
So
thanks.
It's such a huge subject. Shall we perhaps start with why coaching to help and improve people's health and wellness?
Well, Margie, whenever you think about it, all our lives until we, attain adulthood, we actually are already coached. So for example, when our parents help us when we're kids, then our teachers help us at school, maybe our siblings and so on. When we're at uni, then we have tutors, we have, all sorts of people there to help us. And then suddenly after university or whatever, you're cast adrift and off you go into the big wild one yonder, to start a company or something like that, or to go into your work situation. And there really isn't anybody there to help you. And unfortunately, that's the time when you're making lots of different decisions about your life, your personal life, your professional life. And there's nobody there actually to help, to bounce ideas off and so on. And as a coach, that is what I'm an accountability buddy. I have ideas. I don't tell you them. I get you to come round to that way of thinking so that you think about it for yourself. So when you realize something or you have an insight, you learn it forever. It's not something that somebody told you that's just going to, go away. You've actually changed the way you think about stuff. And that's what the coach does. That's what I do. So I think everybody really needs that at certain times of their life. If not at the beginning, then certainly middle age, in their late 40s, whatever, people start to question, why am I here? What am I doing here in this particular career? Or look at my health, it's really poor. How can I help that? So that's whenever I think it's really good to come to a coach to get some guidance.
Awesome. So when it comes to lifestyle, how would that affect your coaching?
Well, for example, in my case, I say I help people change their lives, and I do. In other words, they're somewhere or someplace or doing something that they don't really want to do. So they've drifted into this career, or they've been in this career for ages, or they've been in this relationship for ages. And suddenly one morning you waking up and think, why am I here? What am I doing in this place? I don't actually even know how I started in this career. Maybe it was mommy and daddy said, why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? I don't know why I'm with this person, but it's not working anymore. And look at my health. I'm sedentary. I don't go out and I'm not playing team sports anymore like I used to when I was young. I'm not eating healthily because I'm overworking. I'm coming home and just stuffing something into my mouth, and it's not necessarily the best thing for me. And so I think whenever you go through coaching, I show you how to take control of your life and take control of your decisions and become calm. And whenever you're calm and you're making better decisions, it's much easier then to make decisions about your health and about your lifestyle. So that's where coaching comes in.
So to that end, what tools do you share for you to take them to that next level?
Well, one of the main things that I always want people to think about, Margie, is that we only ever live in the present moment. And I know this sounds really trite, but actually when you think about it, not many people do live in the present moment. We either live in the past with regrets and so on, or we're living in the future and we're worried about that. And basically, everything is for the future. And when this happens, I'll be happy, or when I get that, I'll be happy. But what I'm saying to people is you need to live in the present moment. You're in control. And it's not the fact that you get to the end of something. It's the actual journey. That's what you never get to the end. It's the journey. So what I would say to you then is, what I say to all my clients is, please try and stay in the present moment as much as possible.
I like that. So tell me, Doreen, with the abundance of coaches that have just flooded the market during this COVID period, what is different? What sort of person would be the ideal person to come to you for the change that is required in their life?
Yeah. Well, so I have people come to me, and it's mostly women now. I'm not saying it's maybe 70% women and 30% men, but they're at a place in their lives where they're stuck or they're lost. And it's really, some people sit in front of me, Margie, and they just say, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm totally lost. I can't even tell you what's wrong. Everything's wrong. You know, I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm in this position. I don't know how to get out of it. I'm totally stuck. So that's whenever I go into the inside out view of the world, which is what I teach. And that is that nothing on the outside of you, no situation or circumstance or person, can actually make you feel anything. Who makes you feel something is yourself and your thoughts and the story that you're telling yourself about the situation or the circumstances or the people outside you. And that's why it's different. What I teach is different to a normal coach. You will go, oh, what's your goal? Let's see if we can get there. We'll break it down and then you'll have this goal. Okay, so that's great. You can go to that coach and you'll achieve that goal. Well, what happens in the rest of your life or the next time you meet a difficulty or a problem? You're still going to think about it the same way because your thinking and your realization of what happens in the world has not changed. What I do when I say I change people's lives, I change the way they actually think and deal with problems and difficulties. And that stays with you forever. And it doesn't apply to a particular thing. It applies to everything. So if you can face a problem or a difficulty and look at it in a completely different way where you see the opportunity in that, that calms you down automatically. When I can teach you how to believe totally in yourself and your innate wisdom and resilience and strength, you realize then you do not have to worry about the future because whatever happens, you are going to be able to deal with it. And that takes the worry out of it. You're not going to worry about that. So then when you're calm, when you feel like you're in control, you're more creative about solutions around problems, but also you realize that the things that you do in the moment, in that little space between the situation out there and your response to it, that's where you're actually controlling your lived experience. Now, I know that sounds really sort of, wow, sort of, what is she talking about here? But it's very, very simple because each of us responds in an automatic way. We react automatically because of our programming when we were young, because of things that have happened to us. So we automatically, when we get a certain set of circumstances, we react like this or like this or like this. But what I teach is that you need to bring it right down to that moment and you need to take a breath and you need to think about the response you're going to make. And it's not automatic. You need to take control of that and say, no, that's old thinking. That's not serving me anymore. This is how I want to respond now. I want to be calm. I want to look at it with, opportunity in mind. I want to be kind or compassionate, whatever it is. So your lived experience of that circumstance is now different. Same circumstance, maybe same situation, same person winding you up, but your response is different. So therefore you feel differently about it. So your lived experience is different. And when you start feeling like that about all sorts of things, Margie, that means you realize then you are in control of your life, basically, of your lived experience of your life.
Doreen, what you've said there were so many pearls of wisdom in what you've said. Now, for our listeners, I believe that you have on your website a little gift for them. Would you like to tell them a little bit about that?
Yes, it's just, I'll tell you what it is. It's simply a PDF, and it's about how to deal with criticism in this world, because this world is very critical, Margie, as you know. What do you look like? You're fat or you're thin or you're, wrinkled, or your lifestyle, you live with a man, with a woman, whatever. And people are so highly critical. And then at work, of course, Your work is criticized, everything is criticized. And it's really difficult sometimes for people to understand that this criticism has nothing to do with them. This criticism has to do with the other person. And who you are and what you feel and the way you portray yourself is completely up to you. And you do not have to believe anything anybody else says. You do not have to take it on board. So what I would just like them to have is this little PDF where it sort of just goes through a few steps that they can copy where it makes them feel a little bit more in control of that situation and just makes them look at it from a different angle. People are like this, and I try to get them to look like that so that they'll just see something from a different angle and go, oh, yes. Right enough. Why didn't I think of that? Okay. Awesome. And then they can take that on board,
So what they would do, they would go onto your website, which is going to be visible for them to have a look at.
Yeah.
You can go on and they download it.
Yeah, you can go on as long. Yeah, you leave me your email address and then I will, or you can go directly to my email there, which is DoreenRitchieCoaching.com. And then just say, I'd like a copy of this PDF, and then I'll send it to you. Absolutely.
Oh,
and then if you want to take a look out then on the website, because I'm going to be giving away a video, which is sort of telling you how to deal with stress. And so that sort of thing, comes up regularly on the website if they want to just have a wee look. And that'll be coming up soon.
Fantastic. So with a parting word, what one tip would you give people who are maybe at a crossroads or thinking, shall I go and pop some relaxation pills or
all right, yeah,
help me through a crisis?
Really, all you need to really understand is that you already have everything in you to deal with reality. You have innate wisdom, strength, courage, resilience, compassion, love, whatever. You need to get in touch with that. The way to get in touch with that is up to you. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's walking in nature, maybe it's swimming, whatever. But you need to take a deep breath and you need to be aware that this is where your emotions are coming from. They're coming from your story you're telling yourself, okay? And you need to believe in yourself. Calm down, take a breath. And I just want to leave you with my favorite quote. And it just says this. It was a philosopher who was on his deathbed. And he said to his wife, look, life just happens. But consider this. Every morning when you lift your head from the pillow, you have everything you need. And that's true, Margie. We all have everything we need already here. We can take control of our lives. We can take control of our health. So please do.
Oh, Doreen, you always are so inspirational. But, just one quick little thing. Do you remember once before when we spoke, you were talking about the space between? Would you just quickly share that beautiful explanation?
Well, sure. That's what I call this attitude, this difference between what happens out there and your response to it. That is the space between. It's the space between the action out there and your response. And that's where you need to become aware that it's all up to you. You can change your response at any time because you're only changing a thought. You're only saying to yourself, instead of just reacting, I'm going to take 1 second, I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to understand I can then choose how I respond. I can choose my lived experience of this. And when you do that regularly, Margie, you will see a total difference in your life. You just get your control back. It empowers you to live the life you want to live. So that's why I call it, it's literally 2 seconds between something happening and your reaction to it. Don't react, respond. Think about it. 1 second, 2 seconds, then respond. From a place of love or compassion or whatever. And that's what works.
Oh, Doreen, I'm so pleased we had this special time. And I know that our podcast listeners and those that are going to be watching the recording on YouTube and Zoom are going to absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being
Thank you so much for asking me, Margie. Thank you. It's lovely speaking to you.